Is there anything too hard for God? Absolutely not. Life can sometimes be very unpredictable. There are ups and downs along the way. Sometimes we are left feeling insecure, heartbroken, and uncertain. In 2 King 4:1-7, God has proven to be our provider and our refuge in times of adversity. This is a story of a poor widow whose husband has died and left her with debts, and her 2 sons were to be taken away. She was going through grief, sorrow, pain, but cried to God in her time of greatest trial. Let's read verse 1. The widow of a member of a group of prophets went to Elisha and said, "Sir, my husband has died. As you know, he was a God-fearing man, but now a man he owed money to has come to take away my 2 sons as slaves in payment for my husband's debt." Her story is in the midst of so much sorrow, hardship, and grief. She gives us a good example of trusting God in times of our need. When the righteous cry for help, the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their troubles. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. When you are going through brokenness, turn to the Lord and trust Him with all your heart, and He will come through for you in a very big way. Verse 2-4 says, "What shall I do for you?" He asked, "Tell me, what have you got at home?" "Nothing at all, except a small jar of olive oil," she answered. "Go to your neighbors and borrow as many empty jars as you can," Elisha told her. "Then you and your son go into the house, close the door, and start pouring all into the jars. Set each one aside, son, as it is full." The poor widow thought that she had nothing except a small jar of olive oil. But out of her faith and obedience, it miraculously became the instrument of her deliverance. There will be times in life when you feel you have nothing. As long as you are breathing, you have something. It can be little faith. Let God touch it and magnify it. If we have faith as a grain of mustard seed, we can move mountains. God is still powerful. Prayers still work. Have faith and be obedient and trust in God. Verse 5-7. So the woman went into her house with her sons, closed the door, took the small of olive oil, and poured all into the jars her sons brought them to her. When they had filled all the jars, she asked if there were any more. "That was the last one," one of her sons answered. And the olive oil stopped flowing. She went back to Elisha, the prophet, who said to her, "Sell the olive oil and pay all your debts, and there will be enough money left over for you and your sons to live on." The poor widow started the day with just a small jar of olive oil. But when the day was done, she had enough to pay the debts and live on. God's supply was more than sufficient. God is our great provider. His provision is more than sufficient. Bring your vessel and let Him amaze you with what He can do. He is able to solve all your problems. Trust and obey Him in your time of need. God can do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask and think.